Welcome to Reflective Fashion Production. My name is Monica. I'm actually pre-recording this. I am working on making sure that I can get videos out in a timely manner, and this is actually going to be a story time that I wanted to really just honestly put my all in this and give it 115% because this is a story time about my dad, and I'm just gonna do it from my perspective only because that's all I got. I can't speak from anybody else's point of view because it's not theirs, it's mine. So I want to say that my dad was an amazing dad. Now when it comes to being a husband, I have no idea because I wasn't his wife. My mom was his wife, and then he got remarried when he was in prison. And the reason why he was in prison was because he made a decision that really affected me, my brother and sister. And what I'm gonna do with that is I'm gonna just tell you that I can talk about that in depth on Patreon. So if you're interested in talking about that, we can definitely do that. It's gonna be from my perspective if we do go into depth with that, only because I know that there are a lot of children that have been a part of DV. And when I say that, I'm gonna just leave the word down below so you can see what I'm talking about. I do know that right now I am driving, so I'm pre-recording this, like I said. But there are a lot of children that are a part of it. And with that being said, you have these emotions that come about, and it's just like, how do you feel about your parents? How do you feel about, the people that are around you, and what makes you feel the way you do? So I'm being completely honest with you and transparent that it was very hard for me at one point. At one point, I did not like neither one of my parents, and I was in high school when this happened. I was in high school, and it was very hard for me because high school within itself is a ball game that you could never win. And I say that because it's just like you still have emotions and triggers from certain things that happen in your childhood when you are grown. And I am a complete 36 years old, and I just feel like me turning 36, I'm grown now because I know answers to questions that I had when I was 25. And then it's just like, we done went through a time of our life to where we had nothing. And everybody can say, I had nothing at one point, and now I'm living back home with my mom, and I'm having a hard time, you know what I'm saying? But this story time is not about that. It's about my dad. So I do want to tell you that my dad was very funny, and he was an amazing dad. Like I said, he was awesome. And when I tell you he was awesome, meaning some of the traditions that I have today, I still have. So one of the things that we used to do was when we were younger is we were together all the time on New Year's. New Year's Eve is like one of my favorite holidays because I just feel like how you spend your New Year's is how your New Year is going to be. So I vowed that I would not work on New Year's Eve because I don't want to spend my year like that. I don't want to spend it like that, and that's one of the things that I got from my dad. Like, you have to make sure that you are productive in how you spend your time. And not only that, but I got another thing from my dad, just my emotions and how I feel and how I wear my heart on my sleeve, because I feel like he did that too. Like, it's weird. It's just like everything that my dad and people tell me about my dad, I'm like, dang, okay, we're kind of alike. That's crazy. My dad passed away in 2013, and he was in prison when he passed away from a heart attack, and that was very shocking to a lot of people because it was just like, it just happened so fast, and we had no idea like what was going on. And one of the things that really bothered me was looking back at certain pictures, it seemed like he wasn't well. And maybe he didn't tell anybody because he didn't want anybody to know. And my dad was very keen about that. So let's rewind a little bit. So when I was in high school, my dad went to prison because he made a decision that affected me, my brother and sister. And as I was in high school, I literally did not talk to my dad from the time that I was like 16 to about, I want to say 18-ish. Like I think I was like turning 19. That's when I started talking to my dad on the phone. And we started to build a relationship. And some of the questions that I asked him, I was just like, I don't understand like all of these things. And one of the things that I didn't understand is how he punished, me and my brother. And even though my sister said, I got one whooping, I got one. Miss me with that. We used to get beat, okay, with things that were crazy. And I don't know if I could say that on YouTube. So hopefully, like, it was crazy things. Like we had bump beds and we had these little paddles. We actually had belts with our names on it. Crazy, man. And I asked him, and he just said that that's how he was raised. And I was just like, that's not okay. They're like, that hurt. But looking at these children today, it's kind of like, y'all need to have an accessory with your name on it, because I just don't understand it. I just don't. And sometimes I think about that about Malia. I'm just like, you need an accessory with your name on it. That's gonna be the new code word for this word here. So I'm gonna leave it right there. So that's the an accessory with your name on it. So that's how I feel about some of these kids, because it's just like how the world is going is so crazy. But I do want to tell you that my dad was a coach. He coached football, he coached basketball, he coached baseball. That's a really big pastime in our family too. I just want to say baseball is that deal and always will be. Malia played softball. My brother played baseball, and since this is recorded, then he's gonna know I thought he was dope in baseball. I really did. He used to say that I used to hate on him in basketball. I did, because I played basketball too. So what do you want? But he was cool. He was cool in football too, but I really liked him as a baseball player, and I just thought he was dope. I think he is dope anyway, and he is a father himself. So it's just like, it's amazing to see him grow and be, that guy, because and that's what he is. And he's an amazing dad. I think that that's important, and I think that my dad did a good job when it comes to raising us until he made the decision that he made. And with him making that decision, it definitely put a halt on certain things. So certain relationships in our lives are a little bit different than how they would be if he was out. And so with that being said, there was another person in my life that really had made a difference and he's my second dad, and he's still here. And I mean, we talk from time to time, and I think that it's definitely important to, give props where props are due. But like, he definitely influenced certain things to help me better myself. And it's, for me, I just feel like it's important when you have male role models in your life. You should definitely take advantage of those, and we don't really prop them up the way that we should. And I think that that's important too. So I have two brothers that are fathers, and I think that they do an amazing job at being fathers, because they're physically there for their children. And I think that that's important, being physically there. That's one of the things that I kind of just, every now and then I feel like that it was taken away from me with my dad. physically there when I needed him the most. And every now and then I feel like that right now. I'm just like, oh my dad. Like, and losing a parent is hard within itself, no matter how old you are. I just feel like that aspect of that relationship is gone because they're no longer there. I just wanted to make this video just about him because I just feel like he plays a really big part of the decisions that I make, and not only that, but just the ideas that I have. He's made a really big part of that, and I want to talk more about him, and I want to be able to express how I feel without feeling like guilty about certain things. And we'll talk more about that on Patreon, because I think I'm gonna just open up a little bit more of things that have happened, just talking about it. But I definitely am going to leave the link below for the podcast that I'm gonna do on my dad and all the men that are in my life, all the men that were in my life. There's only a few of them now that I have, but I'm definitely going to talk about that. So if you guys would love to comment, definitely drop a comment below. I'll leave the link below to the podcast, me, myself, and just Monica, because it's going to be tied to that. And sharing is caring. Definitely don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you all soon.